Hey everyone, it's April from Well Life Yoga and Health. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to do a warm-up for Will Pose. We will attempt Will Pose just for a little bit, but if after the practice you would like to continue practicing for an additional 5 to 10 minutes, you can go ahead and do that on your own. So this is going to be shorter because it is just a warm-up. And we will get started shortly, but in the meantime, if you could hit that subscribe button, you will get notifications. If you ring the bell icon, every week I will be releasing a video at 5 p.m. on Friday, so that way you have it available for the weekend. And pretty soon I'm hoping that my online membership will be coming as well, where there will be longer videos and more options than you have available on YouTube. That being said, let's go ahead and get started, and we will begin by quieting down the mind just for a couple minutes, setting our intention and setting a goal for yourself. So sitting in a nice comfortable seat, hands can be on the knees or perhaps in the lap, and go ahead and close down the eyes for a moment here, or maybe soften the gaze. Take a deep inhale into the belly and open the mouth, let it out. Spine is nice and tall. Knowing that you have nowhere else to be and nothing else to do except take care of you and maybe learn some new things, get stronger. With that, go ahead and begin to think about an intention. Maybe just an intention for your practice or a goal. Or perhaps you would like to set an intention for your day or for your evening. How you want to feel, how you'd like it to go. Maybe 1 or 2 words. Let's go ahead and take a couple more breaths. Open the mouth, let it out. Last one, big inhale into the belly. Open the mouth, fog up a window. And then slowly we come back, open the eyes. All right, so let's go ahead and get started by lying on our backs. So coming onto our yoga mat, feet nice and flat. Bring the heels as close to the hips as you can, keeping those feet in 2 straight lines, nice and in line with our hips. So our hip points are here, and our knees go in line, and then our feet go in line with those. Hands plant down, begin to press up, squeezing the glutes, sending the hip flexors up towards the sky, elongating them and creating some nice length here. Pressing into the shoulders, chin towards the sky and sternum towards the chin. Think about pulling the belly button towards the spine. And then if the knees are slightly falling out, squeeze them in a little bit using those inner thigh muscles. Keep breathing. We'll hold for 5 more breaths and keep squeezing those glutes. You got it. Keep going. 2 more breaths. A little more squeeze. 1 more. And then exhale, lower all the way down, nice and slow. Okay, so that is strengthening your back to get into your Will Pose, strengthening that back body. We'll go ahead and bring our hands behind our thighs. We're going to rock forward and back. So swinging the legs, getting some momentum, and we'll end up in boat pose, so feet will not go back to the ground. They will come up, knees parallel, boat pose. Of course, always the option to bring into full boat, pointing the toes. Notice that little bit of shake, that prana, that life force. Breathe here. So find your modification. Maybe you're even here just with a light touch. Pull the chest forward, so no rounding. Squeeze the knees together. Savasana, boat pose. Take 2 more big breaths. Hold the belly tight. And then go ahead and cross the feet. Come through onto the hands and knees. And find a tabletop position. Wrists go directly under the shoulders and knees are directly under the hips at this point. Fingers are always wide. High-fiving your yoga mat. I know I talk about it all the time. Creating your foundation. Go ahead and lower the belly, lift the chin and the gaze, look forward. And then exhale, press away from the mat, around the spine, chin towards the chest. Inhale, belly lowers, chin and gaze lift. Maybe you have to do a hair flip just like me because you have long hair. Exhale, press away, round that spine. And then inhale, belly lowers, tailbone lifts, gaze lifts. And exhale, press away, round the spine. Upper back is round and stretched here. Last one, inhale, belly lowers, chin and gaze lift. A little hair whip going on. And exhale, press. We'll take an extra breath here. Hold the belly towards the spine. And go ahead and come back to neutral. Take a breath here. Bringing the right foot between the hands and framing the foot with the fingertips. If you need to, walk that knee back a little bit more, finding a low lunge here. And maybe even heel toe the right foot out a little bit more to widen your stance. Lifting the arms up, low lunge. Breathe here, feeling that opening in that hip flexor on the left side. Slight pull to the right hip to pull it back and square those hips. Nice and in line with the top of the mat. Take another breath. And then we're going to tuck the toes, lift the back knee, come into a high lunge. So that back leg is not sinking. We're actually active here. Engage that glute, engage the quad. Pulling that quadricep away from the kneecap, bending in the front knee just a little bit more. Take a couple more breaths. And then go ahead and bring that left palm down to the ground. We're gonna come into a side plank. So perhaps you bring that foot right in front of you, kickstanding it, arm up towards the sky, or perhaps you come into a full side plank. And you can always put one foot in front of the other as another modification. Keep breathing. Lift that hip a little higher. Couple more breaths. And then go ahead and plant the palms, come into your downward facing dog. Take a breath here, settling in between the shoulders. Maybe a little bend to the knees, a little walk out. All right, lowering the knees back down. Find that tabletop position once more. Fingers go wide. And then bringing the left foot now between the hands. Finding that low lunge or that runner's lunge position. Remember, fixing your stance, bringing that knee a little more back, bringing that left foot a little more out. Inhale, lift the arms up, low lunge. Feeling it in that back hip flexor, pull the left hip crease slightly back. Breathe. And then tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, find that high lunge. Active back leg, nice and straight. Bend in that front knee. Hold and breathe. And feel that life force, that strength working through you. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and plant the right palm down. Find that side plank. Again, maybe you're kickstanding here and we're rotating onto that back foot, so we're on the outside of the edge. Lift the left arm up, maybe finding your other variation or a full side plank. Vasisthasana. It's a mouthful. Take a couple more breaths. Maybe a little soft bend to that bottom elbow so we're not locking out. And then go ahead and come back down into your downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Maybe a little shimmy to the shoulders. Getting that head nice and through. And then lower down to the knees. Keep those hips directly above the knees. Only walk the hands forward. Chest to the floor or head to the floor. And if you have trouble getting your head all the way to the floor here, you can always put a block or a blanket or something to rise up to your head so your head doesn't have to go further. The tighter you are on your shoulders, the harder this position seems to be. And then plant the palms a little more underneath you. Come back into that downward facing dog. And then walk your feet all the way forward. Bringing them all the way together, toes kiss, slight part to the heels. We'll inhale to halfway lift. Create space, pull the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, lower down. Forward fold. Bend in the knees, let the belly come to the thighs. And letting the upper body hang, press through the heels, keep the knees bent. As we press through, rising up, unraveling. And then we start to straighten the knees. Then the hips extend. Then the shoulders open and the palms go forward. Tadasana, mountain pose. Remember, always a slight squeeze to the glutes, slight tuck to the lower ribs, staying active here. And then we'll inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step the left foot back. Lower the back knee. Step back into your plank. Go through a vinyasa flow. This is the only one. Press forward on the toes. Maybe we're doing a modified version. Otherwise, go through chaturanga. Knees lower. Elbows go straight back along the ribs. One straight line all the way down. Inhale. Cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a full breath here. And then inhale to the toes. Exhale, knees bend to the belly. Look forward. Hop, step, or walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, slight bend to those knees to prevent that yoga butt. And then inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands at the heart. Breathe here, remembering that engagement in the glutes and the lower ribs. Let the shoulders relax. All right, inhaling, arms sweep up, hips go back, chair pose, Utkatasana. And then hands come to the heart, bend in the knees, lifting the heels, coming into a toe squat momentarily. Arms reach forward, and then we're gonna send our hips back, so widen the knees, come all the way down. Come on to the back, and then we'll start to move into our bridge pose, and then I will show you how to get into wheel pose. So bridge pose is a position or a posture that leads into wheel pose. So this is just a progression essentially into wheel pose. So planting the palms, bring those feet as close to the hips again, and then two straight lines with those toes. So we're not out here, we're not super close, we're in line with the hips. Press them up, squeeze the glutes. And then maybe we're here and that's all we feel like we can do today, and we're still working on this with our glute strength. Or perhaps you bind the hands underneath by interlacing and then start to walk the shoulders under a little bit more. Press a little higher. Lift that chin, lift the sternum, squeeze the glutes. Think about extending that tailbone towards your kneecaps. Take a couple more breaths. And then release the hands if you had them bound. Lower down one vertebra at a time. Let the shoulders now go back into the mat. And then now we're going to move into your will pose. So if that's all that she wrote, if that's what felt good to you as your limit today, go ahead and stick with that. You can come back to this video and you can continue practicing. And there are modifications for will pose in order to get into it a little easier. So if you would like a video like that, let me know in the comments and I will definitely make one for you. Now we're going to go into the will. Hands plant once more, just like we did in the bridge. So we start to press up, lifting those hips high. This time we do not walk the shoulders underneath. We'll go ahead and make sure if you have long hair, it's out of the way. Bring the palms to the ground. See how my fingers are facing my shoulders? You don't want the elbows to go out because you'll have nowhere to go from here, nothing to lift. So bring the elbows in so they're nice and in line. And then press into the palms, lift to the top of the head. This is the interim. If you already know full will, you can go all the way in. And then maybe fix your palms so they're shoulder width. Pull the elbows back in. Press through, extending and bringing the head through. The arms, maybe straighten the legs a little bit. Yours might look a little more like this. That's okay. Hold tight. And then squeeze the glutes, extending the lower back so that it's not pinching. Keep breathing here. And then to lower down, tuck the chin, let the back of the head come down, and then roll back down through your bridge pose. That is a lot when you're talking and in the will pose. So now go ahead. We'll cool down. And again, if you want to pause this video, you can pause it, keep practicing, and then resume to cool down. Feet go as wide as your yoga mat. Go ahead and let the knees come over to the left. And then maybe we're here. Maybe we have cactus arms. Maybe you have T arms. It's up to you. So T shape goes straight up from the shoulders. If you want a little deepening, bring that left foot to the top of the right knee. Allow it to sink that right knee down towards the ground slowly. And deep breaths here. Knowing that you just did a lot with your back body. If you did get into the will pose, or if you attempted, or even if you're doing bridge, it could be a lot for you at this time. Could be where you are right now and as much as your body can handle at this moment, you know. But the more you practice, the stronger you get, and the more confident you get, and the more open your body is to live life very well. Well, life yoga, right? All right, take a couple more breaths. Big inhale. Long exhale. Last one, make it count. And open the mouth, let it out. All right, go ahead and lift that foot off of that knee if you had it there. Bring the feet back, knees back through center. So feet are as wide as the yoga mat, remember. Some people shift their feet around for some reason, not sure how it happens, but feet as wide as the yoga mat. Allow the knees to fall over to the right. And if you did put your foot on top of your knee, go ahead and do the same thing on this side. If you did not, then do not do it. Trying to keep it nice and even, keep the body aligned. Keep breathing here. As much as you can, especially if you're in a place where you have allergies. Completely understandable because I am in that place. Feeling that muscle here. Pull along the hip, along the IT band a little bit, and along the back. So depending on your body, you may or may not feel those things if you are not tight in those areas. Take a couple more breaths. Last one. And then remove that foot from the top of the knee. Bring both knees back to center. And now the feet will kiss, the knees will go out, finding a bound angle pose. If you happen to have any kind of glute area here that's a little extended, you can go ahead and press that top area flat and then flatten that back onto the yoga mat. I like to keep my hands either on the insides of my hip flexors or one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. But with my microphone, I can't do that. So you decide, maybe you want more of an opening in your shoulders and you bring your arms above your head. Just do what feels right to you today. This is our last pose before Savasana. Just a little mini flow, getting into our will pose, strengthening the back, opening the heart. Take one more breath. Recalling your intention that you set at the beginning of your practice. And then go ahead and start to close the knees, maybe with your hands. Extend each foot to each corner of the mat. Palms come out slightly from the hips, facing up. And then snuggle the scapulas nice and flat into the mat if they weren't. Maybe a slight tuck to the chin. We'll be here for about a minute. The most important part of your practice. Absorbing all the nutrients of what you did, of the amazing ways you are working your body, working to get it stronger, working to connect your mind and your body to create that union that is yoga. And maybe repeating your intention in your mind.